Hello there. I apologise for the long interval between this video and previous. Work has just got a bit nuts recently. I've had a bit of a bumper month, and rugby season started, so everything's kind of come along at once, and I've just not really had much in terms of spare time. The other problem with the rugby season starting is that you lose more days to hangovers. But anyway, here's some meta stuff. So, to those of you who are unfamiliar to these videos, essentially, I'm going to talk through the stats first. And then, for those of you who have shorter attention spans, you can like the video at that point if you indeed do so, and go on with your day. But if you want to look at some lists and see some interesting stuff, then by all means. So, essentially, the inclusion criteria for events are there must be at least 10 players, there must be at least 60,000 points deployed over the entire tournament. So what that essentially works out as 10 players, 2,000 points, 3 games. That's 60,000 in total, because 10 times 2,000 times 3 is 60,000. So that's the kind of benchmark. That does mean that 10 players could play 3,000 point games, for instance, and that would count, I think. There's no real hard and fast reason for that particular de minimis, as it were, other than it just feels like, so you don't want a tournament like with about 5 or 6 players there, because if two or three of them have got Bretonnians, for instance, then how reflective is that of the overall meta? So introducing smaller events might skew the data. I'm considering upping the cap a little bit to not cover smaller events. That doesn't mean that I won't do that in the list bit. It just means that they won't make the stats, as it were. I've also created what I call a war score, which is a bit like an individual score for an event based on the event size and where that person placed in the event. I'm still not 100% happy with that, but I'm 90% happy with it. Anyway, so this is the popularity. Again, it's not changed a lot. Skaven have gone down. You see the numbers here. So Empire, for instance, there's been 150 people turn up and play with Empire at qualifying tournaments. That represents 7% of the global meta. The most popular faction is the Kingdom of Bretonnia. They used to be tied with Khemri, so Khemri's sort of dropping off a little bit, which is interesting. Warriors of Chaos used to be on about 8% a few months ago, I think, if memory serves, which it often doesn't. My memory's pretty terrible, but that comes from running at 20 stone people for a bit. So they're up to 10%. I'm pretty sure they were lower. Dwarves have stayed. I think they got down to about 7. What I need to do is popularity over time, really. But anyway, this is where we are. So this is the popularity of the faction. It's sorted, if you're interested, by war score, going from 12 o'clock in a clockwise direction. So Tomb Kings of Khemri are the best faction at the moment, followed by Bretonnia, followed by Warriors of Chaos, and so on and so forth. Skaven being the worst, Empire being the second worst at the moment in terms of event placings at larger events. So win percentage wise, this is called a box and whiskers plot, because there's a box and there's some whiskers. I don't have a box. Oh, I do have a box handy. There we go, but it's kind of propping up a monitor because my monitor stand frame thing is broken. Anyway, I don't know why I did that. That's pointless. Here's the box. The box is essentially the win percentage, and the whiskers represents the normal result. If you know anything about stats, you know what a standard distribution is. Essentially, that's the standard distribution of that particular faction's scores. So that's what a normal player, which is around about 2/3 of results, falls in that. So if you're inside that box, you're a-okay. If you're above it, you're doing well, and if you're below it, there's some learning opportunities for you. So again, this is all sorted by war score. So what we're looking for here is anomalous data. So for instance, dwarves are quite anomalous because their normal and their win percentage does actually put them above ogres and lizardmen, but in terms of tournament results, they're relatively speaking doing worse. You see the same again with chaos dwarves that are, in terms of game results, in terms of winning games, they're doing better than demons and slightly better than high elves. However, they're not placing very high at tournaments. Now, my explanation for that is that you can see the anomalous results. See dwarfs and chaos dwarfs, they don't really have, and indeed beastmen and to an extent wood elves, they don't really have much by way of swift stride. I think that swift stride is essentially the thing that it doesn't allow you to win games. What it does do is when you are winning a game, it means you can chase down your opponent and absolutely demolish them. So getting those big results, in like your 2,000 point kind of victory, kill point differentials, those kind of results, you really need some super fast stuff to go and kill the remaining vestiges of the enemy, or to finish off those. So for instance, at the end of the game they might have a big unit that's down to a few troops. Well, if you wipe out those few troops, you might get an extra sort of 300 or 400 victory points, which can make a really big difference. If you're dwarves, for instance, you've got no way of killing them if they're all the way over there. You can't really get there. However, if you're empire, you've got some cavalry that can get over there and punch them in the jaw and finish them off. The win percentage over time, there's some factions that haven't got results in this month, so September you can pretty much ignore. This is really only useful up until August, because August is the only month we've got full data. However, I'm not entirely certain how to stop it from doing the September results. But as you can see, over time, factions like are they demons? Are they? Why does? Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? If I hold, so demons have had a pretty good August. I'm sure they did have some results in September. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, as you can see, over time, factions like, for instance, Tomb Kings have been doing very well. They've been top of the meta in terms of win percentage. They've been winning most games in May and June. July, they've kind of gone a bit mid-table. They were back to very nearly the top in August. So Tomb Kings are a pretty reliable faction results-wise. Same is true of Bretonnia, and that's kind of why they're top of the meta, as it were. Now we've actually got a few army books out. What I'm going to try and do is do like a war score comparative to like the month before the journal being released and the month afterwards. And then sort of compare factions. So essentially we can attempt to measure the relative impact of an arcane journal. So we've got Chaos out on this Saturday, so we'll be able to see results. So for instance, comparing August Warriors of Chaos versus probably October Warriors of Chaos, giving people chance to buy and paint and all the rest, and the minis, so that they can enter with them. I think that'll be quite interesting, and then we can do the same with dwarves. And it's just working out the time, how much time we give people to sort of fully acclimatise to the faction, as it were. This is the rank percentile. So essentially, what we're measuring here is again box and whiskers, so normal distribution. So again, about 2/3 of results in there. What we're measuring here is how far up somebody finishes in a tournament. So 100% means first and 1% means last. So essentially Tomb Kings, I mean, it's not surprising that this follows the war score, because the war score is largely based on rank percentile. There are some interesting anomalous results. For instance, Beastmen are below High Elves despite having a better rank percentile in general, and I think to an extent Wood Elves are. However, High Elves are doing better at larger events. So essentially the war score takes into consideration the size of the event. So High Elves are doing better at bigger events relative to Beastmen and Wood Elves, hence them being further to the left, as it were. And as you can see, Skaven, poor old Skaven, who are arguably my favourite. Arguably? Yeah, probably definitely my favourite faction. I love the old rat men. They're just doing terribly at the moment. But now we've got Skaven in Age of Sigmar. Maybe there's a bit more model availability. You know, let's hope for some better results. However, the 2K list I want to buy for Skaven, because it's now AOS pricing, is ruinously expensive, so it might take me quite a while to put it together. It's I just don't like paying £12 for a Giselle. I know there's 3 in a box and it's like 36 quid or whatever, but like £12 each seems a bit steep. Seems a bit kind of, that's going to hurt, because I need 70 quid for 6 models, 6 plastic models. Really? Oof. I know the hobby's not cheap, but I mean, come on, G-Dub, that's a bit much. This chart is... Sorry, my phone's going nuts. I just want to check it, make sure that there's no problem with the family. No, fine. This is the all or nothing chart. Normally when my phone's going nuts, it's because we've got rugby training later, so there's a lot of chat going on that, in that particular group. Normally, however, when my phone's going nuts, it's because my daughter's forgotten something for school, or my wife's forgotten something for work, or, you know, some club is on that nobody's told us about, or whatever. Anyway, all or nothing. The all or nothing chart, essentially, so these percentages at the bottom, you can't really read them on a phone. I've had criticisms of that before, but it's a lot of data to fit into one chart, and I for the life of me, I can't figure out a better way of representing it than this. But essentially what we're looking at, these percentages at the bottom, are the percentage of results that have either won 0 games at a tournament or that have won 100% of their games at a tournament. So, for instance, Wood Elves here, 0 wins is 8% and 100% wins are 10%. So what that means is 1 in 10 players, 10% of Wood Elf players have won all their games at a tournament, and 8% of players have won none of their games at a tournament. So, so essentially, the box and whiskers, that shows the normal, that shows like average results, and this shows extremes. So it's easy. It's not actually that easy to lose all your games. It's actually quite difficult at a tournament. I've only managed it once, and that was Age of Sigmar. Oh gosh, many years ago, when Slaves to Darkness were like bottom of the meta and terrible. And I wrote a list that I thought, I can beat this meta. And then I took it to a tournament and just got smashed every game. It was so Skaven players now, I absolutely sympathise. I know what it's like to be in that position. You've got some lovely stuff and you want to play it, and it's just awful. Or did I take Everchosen? I can't remember. I really can't remember. No, I think it was Slaves, wasn't it? Anyway, it's horrible being in the position that Skaven are. For instance, 36% of players have lost all their games. So just over 1 in 3 Skaven entrants have lost every single game at a tournament. That's really bad. There are 6% Skaven results with 100% wins, and that's because very early doors there was a chap in Canada that did quite well with Skaven. In a kind of a sort of a unique meta over there, very early doors, like sort of I think February, March this year when the Old World was just released. So that's your all or nothing. That's your all or nothing chart. I've also compiled the war score for individuals. So at the top, as usual, we've got Luna and Phil. So essentially what this does is it works out, well, I'll show you. Let's have a look at this. So there's the formula if you're interested. I mean, basically it's the rank percentile corrected. There's an element that sort of looks at the size of the event and then degrades that result by the number of months from now. So essentially, the further away it is, the less the more that score is reduced for that particular event. So turning up to more events does just generate you more war score. So, for instance, let's pick on someone. James Fike. I don't want to really pick on anybody, but James Fike's won 55% of his games, which is good. I mean, that's above average. You should, because draws are quite common in the old world. I think if your win percentage is like 45%, you're doing okay. So 55% is above average. However, James has turned up to 7 events, and they're obviously quite large because not 7 events. James has turned up to 5 events and fought 26 battles, so 5 larger events. And so they've got, I mean, with that, they've got to all be 5 or 6 game tournaments. And so his war score is quite high because he's essentially fought more battles, despite his win percentage not being as amazing as other people in the top, like Michael Neufeld down here, sort of similar type of position. So he's been to 5 tournaments. So there's an element of experience in the war score. So these are the best players in terms of like results, but also in terms of tournament experience. So these are your grizzled veterans who've taken a few knocks and learned to stand back up and go again. So, yeah, Luna Valentine, she went second for a bit because Phil did a couple of extra tournaments. I mean, Phil has said in the comments, and, if you are one of these people and you want to have a chat, comment below. I do respond to everything so far. But Phil has said that Luna's a league above him. That's very magnanimous. Phil's obviously a very good player. His average rank percentile is 94%, so that means he sort of tends to podium events. It's just that Luna tends to win those events. They both play on the same circuit, as it were, so they're both sort of in the same geographical area. So most of these tournaments they've both been at, and most of them Luna's won and Phil's come like second. So that's what's happening with this war score here. We've got Jack Allen coming in third. So well done to everybody here for doing quite well. In terms of total results, if we go right down to the bottom, there are about... Now, some of them are duplicates that I really can't be bothered to go through. If you want to, you should keep your name the same because then the algorithm picks it up better. But anyway, so you got like 1,300 tournament entrants in total at events that that I've decided should be included in the meta. Both 3-game and 5-game tournaments. There aren't really enough 5-game tournaments to really generate any decent comparators yet. There's been quite a few 5-game tournaments, not quite enough to generate what I would call a statistically representative sample of the overall meta, but we're fairly close. And once we start to get there, we can then compare like results at 3-game and 5-game tournaments, which would be quite interesting. Like, does a 5-game tournament make much of a difference to player fortunes? And the answer is obviously yes, but what are the implications of that, and to what extent are really the questions that we should be answering? So let's not look at that. Let's look at some of these events. So we're going to start off with last weekend's events, and we're going to look at some lists now. So if you're just here for the stats, I hope you've liked the video. If you have, there is indeed a button to express that particular preference. Preference? Is a like a preference? Do I like something? Is that a preference, or is that just preference? My grammar is failing this morning. I've also said me and somebody are going to this morning, whereas it should be somebody and I, of course. If you're confused about that particular grammatical turn, if you're replacing we, then it's and I, and if you're replacing us, then it's me and. But anyway, right out. So Matt Howley won with Chaos Dwarves, which is quite interesting. Chaos Dwarves also came third. Yeah, I'm sure that win over time has not picked up some results here. Rigus Roughnecks, Rich Parks, Empire came in third. Now, there is another list on here. In fact, there are another couple of lists on here. Ed Fawcett, who's of, what's he called now? Close Order or something. His list, he's taking Skaven and actually doing quite well with them. And so's Jack Allen. Jack Allen got 5th. In fact, let's look at Jack's instead of because I want to know what's doing well for Skaven, because that's what I want to buy. And Rob Symes has a really interesting Warriors of Chaos list that I wanted to look at, and I think he only played the first day and he must have had to TO for the second day, but you know, and this was his tournament as well, so he's the host, so presumably he won the first 3 games and thought, I'd best not play tomorrow. Or maybe they had a dropout or whatever. Well, no, they didn't. They've got 5 results. I wonder what happened there. Did he actually just get 0 for those last 2 games? Interesting. And then let's have a look at Tom Carley, Empire of Man. The Empire will be fairly interesting, to be honest. And then Matt Howley for the winner. Right, so the first one, filth, for Jack Allen. He's got a Grey Seer on foot. I think that's the answer. I don't like putting them on a bell. I did originally. I did think that was a better option, to be honest. But I think it's become clear over time that making your caster wizard that's very good at hiding in units a large target so it can be cannoned off the table is probably a bad idea, considering you can't make it super survivable. Now, if there was a thing that allowed you to, I don't know, get like a 3 at ward against shooting in Skaven, you'd probably put it on the bell and go for that, because then, cannons aren't as effective. However, that magic item doesn't exist, so on foot is better. We've got a Ruby Ring of Ruin here. We've got a Lore Familiar here. He's got Illusion there. I'm presuming he's got Illusion so he can go for the You Can't Charge Me spell, which is pretty good because he's got 3 power scrolls, so he definitely wants to get that off. He's not got an amazing magic weapon, so he's not going for Spectral Doppelganger. He's going for something else, and there is a spell in Illusion that basically, I think you're -1 or -2 to your move, and you can't charge. Maybe you can't march as well. So it'll be that spell that he's going for to try and shut down charging. There's a Warlock Engineer here with a Storm Demon, which is a bit like the Ruby Ring of Ruin. So he's got 2 essentially extra magic missiles. He's got Elementalism there and there. So possibly hoping for a bit of oh bloody hell! What's it called? Rusty Plague of Rust. I was going to say Rusty Armor. Plague of Rust, which is -2 to your armor value, which is pretty decent. Sorry, I'm on a main road here and it's school time, and so you see lots and lots of bizarre behaviour, which is quite distracting. Yes, he's gone for the Chieftain with the Cautious Shield. I love that item. So the Cautious Shield, basically, in combat, it's like a big just bit of metal a dome of metal that he just basically hides under. So it's a big bit of metal that he can either wield one-handed and it's a shield, or he can wield the shield two-handed and he gets +3 to his save. So he goes up to a 2-up save. It's such a cheeky item. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, especially winning challenges. Just sort of sit behind that. It's a real pity they don't have like some ability to generate thorns, i.e. so thorns are like a gaming mechanic where if you hit somebody it hurts you, so there's no sort of reflect or bounce back, unfortunately. If you could get that as well as that would be just beautiful. Peak Skaven. Don't die, just hide behind the shield. Right, then he's got 36 clan rats. Now this is interesting because the logic so far with clan rats is don't give them any upgrades because they're basically a weapons team delivery system. But he's gone for a big unit of clan rats, probably to hide everything in. He's gone for another decent unit of clan rats here, because I think the logic behind that is essentially use your clan rats like Skaven slaves and then go for storm vermin if you want some decent rats. But he's not done that here. He's gone for some night runners, which that's quite an interesting choice because they don't, on the face of it, appear to be any good. So, Jack, if you are watching, then I'd love to know why the night runners and why these core choices and how that went on. And then he's gone for 3 sets of gutter runners. Are fantastic because they all generate essentially 2 shots each, and they're all poisoned. Sling has like an 18-inch range, so yeah, you're going to be essentially playing with a lot of negative modifiers, which does waste their ballistic skill of 4 slightly, because you're on like 5s or 6s to hit typically with slings. However, because of poisoned attacks, you're not that bothered, because you've got 18 poisoned attacks, so that's, you know, at least two armor saves, if not 3 or 4 that you're forcing somebody to take. So that's pretty good for a round of shooting. I think they've also got quick shot, haven't they? Slings? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a really interesting list. It's a totally different direction. Well, it's not totally different. It's a slightly different direction to that which magic seems to be key again for Skaven. Then Rob Symes, he's gone for Tzeentch. This is 100% magic. He spent 1,000 points, maximum amount of pointage on characters. He's got a level 4 Mark of Tzeentch Demon Prince, who can fly and has battle magic. Everybody's got battle magic. I think what he's doing is trying to bomb the table with the Pillar of Fire as much as possible. He's gone for spell familiars with all 3 of them, so they're all generating 5 spells. So essentially there's a very low chance he doesn't get a Pillar of Fire. And this sorcerer, these exalted sorcerers are level 2s, but they can choose 3 spells. They can take 3 spells. Then he's got a Sorcerer Lord with the Skull of Katam, which is the one that one's the one that's +1 to cast if you're nearby. He's then got 3 smaller units of Chaos Warriors that are typically trash. However, here what they do is if he puts a Sorcerer in these units, he gets +1 to cast with the unit because it's unit strength 10 or more. Remember that the Sorcerer is in the unit, so even if this unit of 10 loses 1 to shooting, because the Sorcerer is still in it, it's still got unit strength of 10, so it still gets +1 to cast. So that's really good. And also, Mark of Tzeentch has a really good magic missile. So he's got 4 of those automatically, which is D6 +3, strength 4, AP2, 18-inch range. So there's a lot of magic shooting coming out of this. This is like a Chaos Gunline style army. It's really interesting. He's then doubled down on that by taking a Hell Cannon. Now, a Hell Cannon is rubbish at shooting, but I reckon it's pretty good if you get it to sort of just pile forwards into the opponent. And that's why he's got battle magic, because you can make a unit move again with battle magic. I don't know whether you can make it move again and again, actually. I don't know whether you can cast that Arcane Urgency more than once. Presumably you can't, but if you can, hypothetically, you could get the Hell Cannon into their face on turn 1, and then if it does blow up, then it's going to kill most of your opponent's army and not yours. Then he's got some Dragon Ogres, presumably to protect a flank, but this is a really strong list. I think it would be potentially vulnerable to something like Beasts of Chaos, who have lots and lots of units, lots and lots of heavy hitters, and lots of decent charging units, because you know he can't. I mean, and also lots of chariots. Chariots are quite tough, so the Tzeentch spells are going to be less impactful, less effective against those chariots. But you know, 4 Pillars of Fire, if he's got all that on the table, that's pretty nasty. You know, lots and lots of strength 3, high AP. I think it's strength 3, AP 2, aren't they? I can't remember off the top of my head. But you get to choose the direction it goes in. So the other cool thing is if you've got like unit, and you put it there, it can't land on a unit, it can't finish a move there, so it can pop over all of them. So you can hit lots and lots of stuff with a Pillar of Fire if your opponent doesn't deploy cleverly. So really good list, this. Really interesting, and it's obviously doing quite well. Rob's a really good player as well, so, you know, he knows what he's doing. Sorry, I forgot which order. Tom, Rich, Matt. So where's Tom? Tom came 3rd with this Chaos Dwarf list. He's got a Bale Taurus, Mantle of Stone, which basically makes it toughness 7, I think. 5 up ward. Meteoric Iron is 2 up save. Or is that Silver Scales? Armor of Meteoric Iron? I can't remember which one that one is. So that's a pretty tough level 4 wizard. The Sorcerer Prophet is, of course, as well an engineer, so that can sit at the back. And actually, has he got any war? He hasn't got any war machine. Now that's really interesting, because Chaos Dwarves, they don't have much by way of Swift Stride game, But what they do have is the Dreadquake mortar, which essentially wherever it hits, every unit within 2d6 inches of that point cannot use Swift Stride. So if your opponent is lined up for a long charge, you just chuck a Dreadquake mortar near it. You don't really have to cause any casualties or do much damage, but you will then stop them from getting that long bomb charge off, which means you can then move a little bit closer. He's got some Fireglaves here. He's got a little Black Orc mob with the Angry Lads flag. These can take magic items from these can only take magic items from the Orc and Goblin list. So he's got the Trollhide trousers and he's got basically a combat dragon here. He's got two Hobgoblin Khans, presumably because he's got two. No, he's only got one unit of Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. Has one got the ruby? Yeah, so one's got the ruby ring of ruin as well. So this one's a bit more defensive and. Yeah, so I wonder if he actually deploys those with the unit or just uses those as like sort of separate ways to hunt down war machines, because I guess they're pretty good at that, to be fair. And he's got a couple of Hobgoblin bolt throwers because they're cheap as chips, so why not? So well done Tom for coming third. I believe it was Rich that came second with his Empire list. Again, this is quite an interesting-ish list. So he's got a Captain of the Empire on a Demigryph. That's my preferred mount, to be honest. This has got a Battle Standard Bearer. I'm not a massive fan of the Empire Griffin. It just seems a bit it doesn't seem great value for money. He's then got an Engineer with a grenade launching blunderbuss. He's then got a Lector on a War Altar, which you don't see very often. Again, that's probably because the model isn't out. I'm not sure whether it's any good, but he's made it the General. Now, that is a pretty good combo because they've got lots of like buffing spells that they're to re-roll hits and saves and stuff. So, not spells, prayers. So that's, and they're all within like command range. So that's pretty decent. Yeah, that's pretty good because then it's a large target and a general, so it's got an 18-inch command range. But you need to be the general and be a large target to get that 18-inch command range. It's not just large target doesn't confer that automatically. Then he's got a Wizard Lord because they're cheap as anything. He's got some knights, he's got some veteran state troops, so he's got two essentially quite expensive blocks of stuff to go in the core choice. He's then got some Demigryph knights and a cannon and a steam tank. Why is that weird points? It's repeat pistol. Maybe that's what's going on there. And then he's got a Hell Blaster. This list, it doesn't feel very big, does it? It doesn't feel like there's a lot there. I mean, normally Empire lists have got loads and loads of stuff in it. But I guess he's gone like fairly elite. Yeah, he's given them drilled. He's given them the Griffin standard. He's got a war banner there with the Demigryph. I mean, that's presumably the captain goes with the Demigryph knights. So you got four of them. The Demigryphs themselves, they don't seem to have a battle. They don't seem to have a standard. So interesting. I'd love to know how that played, to be honest. Sorry, I've got some sun in my eyes. It's annoying me. Right, and then we've got the winner of a foray in Cathay, which was Matt Howley with Chaos Dwarves, and he has also a combat dragon. He's got the Bale Taurus level 4 wizard thingy with 2 mantles of stone, so he's up to toughness 8. He's gone for a Demonsmith sorcerer. He has gone for Death Shriekers. So me saying the Dreadquake Mortar's pretty good. Neither of the successful players have taken it. Shows what I know. Iron Demons are excellent though. Like I think they're pretty much an auto include in any Chaos Dwarf list. But again, what do I know? He's gone for a small unit of Black Orcs because you've got to have a unit of Black Orcs for every war boss that you take, and vice versa. So you can't just have a unit of Black Orcs. You've got to have a war boss as well. So that this one's literally just paying the tax. But I guess a little unit of 5 Black Orcs is also a little bit of a problem for them, especially with a couple of great weapons. So that can kind of go around and maybe finish off a few units. So it's not entirely useless. He's got a couple of units of Hobgoblin Cutthroats because they basically cost nothing and they're good speed bumps. And then he's got a big unit of Infernal Guard with great weapons there to essentially take a hit. And he's got these as a detachment so they can stand and shoot against whatever's charging into this unit of Infernal Guard. So that's and then he's got a couple of Death Shriekers, so which are weird. All Chaos Dwarf artillery is weird and excellent. So yeah, well done, Matt. Very, 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 very good. He did lose one game against. He lost against the Empire player. So who did the Empire player lose against? Rich got 0 points. Did he? Oh, he must have had to leave. Who did he play against? Tom Collett, Chaos Dwarves. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I guess this could stop him from like getting any points because I mean, yeah, if he just shot the wrong targets. But then the steam tank, like steam tanks are so difficult. The steam tank must have done something because they're like toughness 7 and they got 10 wounds and like a 3-up save or something ridiculous, or a 2-up save, or so they're really, really difficult to take down, like nigh on impossible, to be honest. Cool. So that's a foray in Cathay, which took place in Nottingham. Then also last weekend we had this BKG Old World Tournament September, which took place in I believe Ontario, Canada, which was run by Adam Slutsky of the Gutlords. So let's have a look at his list. I'm not going to look at the Bretonnian list because, well, I'll look at one, but I'm not going to look at any more Bretonnian lists because we know what's in them. Yeah, so Green Knight. He's gone for Exiles. We don't know what's in them. He's gone for the Green Knight in Exiles. I think that's a smart choice because it allows you to have like a super combat character. Exiles can't take a Duke. They can only take up to a Baron. So you can't really do the virtue of heroism thing with them because they've just got one for your attack, so they're not quite as good. However, the Baron, he's gone for the Frontier Axe, which is like, I think, strength +3 AP3, or maybe strength is it's a better version of a great weapon with magical attacks. He's gone for Virtue of Knightly Temper, which gives you hatred everybody and +D3 extra attacks in the first round of combat. So that's on a Royal Pegasus, that's going to get a charge off, and that's going to blend some stuff. He's then gone for an Outcast Wizard, which is interesting, and you don't see them particularly often at the moment because Damsels are still slightly better. He's gone for a Paladin, Knights of the Realm. Need to breathe more. And then he's gone for a couple of Bombards are like the best cannon in the game, so 2 of those. Cannons are horrible to play against, so that's a super smart choice. So yeah, okay. Well, that's a really interesting list. That's the same as Jack's list that I played a couple of weeks ago. More or less the same. I think Jack had some more Knights, didn't he? And I think he had 2 units of Pegasus Knights, whereas he's gone for a big block of them. I mean, I'm 50-50 on which is better. The advantage of having a lot of them is that they hit harder, obviously. The disadvantage of of having 3 of them is that if 2 die, the other one can run away and your opponent gets 0 victory points for them because you've got to get them to 25% or lower. So if you've got a unit that's got 3 of a thing, if 1 survives, just run away because you deny them the victory points for them, which is pretty good. Unless you're absolutely desperate for them. So that was Shane. Chosen and Drogers. Sorry, was this the guy I want? Yeah, Warriors of Chaos. Hi, Elves. Oh, list unsubmitted. But well done, Keith, anyway, for coming 3rd. Well done. Lost his first game despite getting a theft. That must have been really super close. He lost it to... Is that the way that these work? I forget which... Is that 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3 like that? I think it's 1, 2, 3 like that. I think he lost to Tim Koch with Dwarves. Dwarves are good at grinding out results. Like, they don't win by much, but they're good at grinding out results. So Adam Slutsky with Chosen and Drogers. So he's got some Chosen Knights. He's got some Drogers. Yep. So he's that's what he's done. He's got 10 Marauder Horse with Mark of Tzeentch. Has he got a Sorcerer Lord with Mark of Tzeentch on a level on a demonic mount? So that can go with them. It probably does. It just kind of sits on the edge because the base sizes don't like synchronise properly. But yeah, it can go with that unit. So this is like a unit strength of with the demonic mount essentially 23. So he's going to be getting +1 to cast all the time. So that's going to be pretty reliable. He's got a Chaos Lord on Dragon, which is, you know, that's the ultimate nastiness. He's not gone for the usual 5-up regen and all that kind of stuff. He's gone for a bit of output with the Ogre Blade, and he's gone for a bit of magic resistance with the Brazen Collar, gives it magic res 2. And he's also gone for the Enchanting Aura, which is a demonic enhancement, which Enchanting Aura, I think that's the one that makes your opponent's strike lasting base to base. He's gone for a lot of Forsaken as well by Slaanesh, which I think is a better option because it gives him Swift Stride, and you already know my opinions on Swift Stride. Cool. So that's that one. The stuff that happened not last weekend, but the week before. Oh no, hold on. When was this? This was last weekend as well, and that's got Lunar as well. Yeah, so I didn't include this in the stats because I'm not sure what these results mean. The problem with Best Case pairings and some like tournament formats. So this one says points differential, but then when you go into the placings, like some people have got like mega points for some reason. So I think there's like non-kill point scores or something. And then all these blues, it's like, well, what does that... I think you get bonus points for stuff as well. So with that kind of format, I can't work out what the results are. But just to... In fact, we're going to look at one of Lunar's lists. This is what I wanted to look at, the Demons of Chaos list that came in second. So I haven't got a clue what everybody did, so I can't include it in the stats, I'm afraid. But I hope it was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. And well done, Lunar, again, for again winning. So Michael sells with his demons. He's gone for Slaanesh. He's gone for Demonic Prince with the Aether Blade, which only level 1 on that one. Wonder why he only level 1. Presumably he wants to just cast the demon spell. I'm super looking forward to Warriors of Chaos because I really like that magic item that allows you to take so you've got to put it on an undivided sorcerer. I've got mine ready and raring to paint there. It's the one you get for the Prime or Warhammer Plus membership on a chariot there, which I think would be quite cool. Because I quite like all of the Mark of God like signature spells. So there's a magic item that allows you to swap all your spells for that. So you give them level 4 spell familiar, you can take all 5 of them, and I think that'd be pretty strong. Anyway, I don't know why I mentioned that. To be honest, well, yeah. Shut up, Dan. Get on with it. So then he's got a Herald with a banner of acquiescence. Can't remember what that does. I don't think it's very good. I don't think any of the demon banners are particularly much to write home about. They're all okay, but whatever. Then he's got a Keeper of Secrets, who's level 4 with Illusion, +1 attack, which is great because its impaling claws are horrendous. And because it's got Illusion, it's probably hoping for Spectral Doppelganger, so it does even more damage in combat. It's got something like Movement 9 and Swift Strides, so it's really super fast. It is toughness 6 and 6 wounds. It's got. I don't think it's got an armor save at all, has it? It does have the normal demonic 5-up ward against. I think that's just against non-magical. So it's really not that difficult to take down. But when it gets into combat, it slaps super hard. Because especially if you've got Spectral Doppelganger, because you get to use your Impaling Claw attacks, who are all Strength 6, AP 2. And then it's normal attacks. It's just horrid in combat. It's so good. He's got a big unit of Demonettes. He's got another big unit of Demonettes with a Totem of Eternal War. One of those banners is basically minus D3, I want to say initiative and strength or something like that. So one of these banners is like a massive debuff banner. So it's pretty good. Then he's got some Seekers. They are super fast. They have got movement 9 and swift stride, so they're great for just getting around. And they're light cavalry, and they've got the fast cavalry rules, so they can like march 18 inches and then they get a free pivot. They're really, really quick, and so they can get out of line of sight pretty easily. Then he's got some Fiends, which are reasonably effective. They're just like everything in Slaanesh, it's all glass cannon. So if it gets there, it'll blend whatever it gets into. Well, almost everything it gets into. However, if it doesn't get there, it's just going to get shot to poop. So yeah, well done, Michael. That looks like a really. I'd love to play against that, to be honest. But Time of Legends took place in Australia. That was my attempt at an Australian accent. Apologies to all Australians. So Chaos Dwarfs came in third in this tournament. William Waddingham. Ben Leaper managed second place with Wood Elves, and Jason Robinson-Kinson from Dix came in first. Decent turnout to this one, 29 for a nice little three-game tournament. So William, well done for coming on the podium. You got Chaos Dwarves, you got that thing. He's gone for a Lamb-Masu rather than the Bale Taurus, which is an interesting choice. As usual, there's a combat dragon, there's a couple of hobgoblins, there's 3 hobgoblin, 2 of them on foot. What the and he's got 2 massive units of cutthroats. Oh no. They're so cheap though, they're like 3 points each. It's just so that's a lot of short bow attacks, I guess, because you've got volley fire and all. Ooh. I guess you could play line hammer with them, couldn't you? Like have 2 ranks of 28. That is a lot of shots. That's a lot of shooting, a lot of crap shooting, but still, that's a weight of dice problem, isn't it? That's what that's going for. So even if you put like 2 28s, what would that be? That'd be 42, 14. So you're probably making 2 or 3. So the point that I'd make though is like that output is like the same as 9 gutter runners in terms of the amount of armor saves it's going to force to make. However, that one's got 56 of these has got a few more wounds. So arguably this 56 is better. Plus also making it, you got to kill 15 of them to force it to take a panic check, like on the first turn. So that's quite unlikely. He's then got the obligatory Iron Demon. He's got 4 Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers. So obviously they didn't have the 3 unit cap, which is interesting because, I mean, they're so cheap. They're really good. And he's got a little unit of Wolf Riders to probably ride around with this and protect his Ruby Ring of Ruin. So well done, well done. Ben Leaper did come second. Wood Elves, he's gone for the Treeman Ancient. Good shout. He's then gone for a Glade Captain, and he's then gone for a Spellweaver. Quite light on magic items, but that's because they're all quite expensive. And I think he's trying to save as much points on characters as possible. This is, I think this is probably the stronger way of building a Wood Elf list. So you've got your level 4 toughness 6 wizard thing. You've got your, actually super effective. It's interesting he's gone for elementalism and not high magic, because you typically go for battle magic and high magic, because essentially you've got your Sisters of the Thorn to do a bit of output. He's only got 2 units of 5 Sisters of the Thorn though, which is quite interesting. He has only just paid the core unit tax, so I think he just couldn't fit another unit in. Or he might not have the models. Wild Riders are, again, like the glass cannon. Like, they hit so hard. Like, Strength 5, AP 2, just nastiness with like 3 attacks each or something ridiculous. So loads and loads of attacks. High strength, high AP, really, really hurt hard. But then they have basically no armour. They've got light armour and a 6-up ward. So, like, a stiff breeze blows them over. He's got some Glade Guard. You have to have a unit of Glade Guard. He's got a couple of units of Deepwood Scouts. I think you're allowed 1 in core per 2,000 per 1,000 points or something like that. And they've got some Glade Riders. They're pretty decent because they've got reserve move. These have all got Hagbane tips, is what he's gone for pretty much everywhere, which absolutely makes sense. Poisoned attacks, because you can make the Sisters of the Thorn have like Plague of Rust, so they can get everything. Essentially, make all these poisoned attacks AP2 effectively. It's not quite that straightforward. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, effectively that's what happens. So that's sort of what he's going for here. And then yeah, so well done Ben for coming in second with that rather competent list. Jason Robinson Kinson, whose list is called "I would like to speak to your manager," has sorry about that, don't usually shout, has a Master Necromancer, but it's all in capitals, so I have to. That's what it says. Master has a level 4 Mortis Engine, Necromancer spell, 2 Banshees, 2 Terrorgeist. Oh, just 1. That's kind of him. Only 4 Screams. And Necromancy, so only 4 Screams and minus 4 million to your leadership. That's not leaning into that too much. And he's got 6 Blood Knights. Yeah, Blood Knights are so good because you can resurrect them. They're like super heavy cavalry. They're individually as good as like Chosen Knights or Grail Knights. They're pretty much 1 for 1 the same, except Blood Knights, you can bring back like, what is it? Is it 5 a turn because they're cavalry? So the no, it's not. Tomb Kings. It's called Arise. The Invocation of Nehek is a leadership check on these wizards on this list actually, and you get to bring back your level plus D3 if it's infantry, level plus 1 if it's cavalry, level if it's monstrous cavalry or monstrous infantry, so wounds, and then I think it's just 1 if it's like a monster, I think. So, and who's got and this one's got the Sceptre of Denoro, which means he can do it twice. He might take a wound for doing it twice, but who cares? He's got loads of wounds, and the other one can just heal him up anyway. So, you know, that near that, horrible. And then he's got a unit of zombies. Zombies can you can add to them on turn 1, so he can conceivably get like 12 plus 3d3 of them in the first turn. So if he's got nothing else to res because nothing's been shot or in range or whatever, he can always just add to the zombies and get probably get them up to about 40 on turn 1. So you get like 60 points of free models just straight away. Horrendous. The maximum unit size on zombies is 40, thankfully. Blissfully. But this is a super effective list. Not surprised it won. But anyway, well done, Jason. I mean, you know, you still got to turn up and actually use it, and you know, it's easier said than done. Then we've got SBT Old World Tourney, which again took place last weekend. Sean Ritchie with the Kingdom of Bretonnia won. We've got Orc and Goblins on the podium. Excellent. Well, let's see what they did. He won. So Shane, well done for coming in third with Warriors of Chaos. Almost, hold on a minute, hold on a cotton picking minute. This is a 1,500 point tournament. So, is it actually 290? Hold on a minute. I thought it was 3. I thought it was, what is it? It's 8, 7, 4, 12, 13, 3, 3, 17, 50. Oh, it's a 1750. Okay. He's gone super cheap on characters. He's gone for a Khorne, General on Manticore. That's a couple of cannon shots away from dying. That's I wouldn't do that, but obviously he's done quite well with it. He's then for Khorne Warriors, some Warhounds, and loads of Dragon Ogres. Oh, loads of 4 Dragon Ogres and loads of Ogres with Mark of Khorne and great weapons. Wow, 4 attack, strength 6, AP2. Tasty. Yum, 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 yum. And then a couple of Gore-Beast Chariots. That sounded weird, didn't it? Cool. So that's Shane. Chris with his Warboss thinks spooky ghost kits came in second. Well done. Night Goblins, Night Goblins, Night Goblin, Night Goblin, Night Goblin, Night Goblin, Fanatics, Night Goblin, Fanatics, Night Goblin. Oh, a modest 7 Fanatics. Actually, I think maxing out on Fanatics might be a bit of a waste because, once they're done, they're done. I quite like the way that you don't have to release them like all at once, so you can kind of stage it and like continually flood about or like at least saturate an area by like doing waves. So like the first 3 go out and then they kind of move wherever they go, and then the next 3 go out and then the next 3 go out, and then you kind of end up with an area which is roughly saturated with Fanatics. So everybody's got to go through quite a lot to get to you. Then lots of short bows. There is a banner of poison, or there's something that gives them poisoned attacks. I'm not sure whether he's got it, to be honest. Is it the spider banner or something? He's not got that, has he? No. He's got some hoppers. And he's got a giant. Giants are great. I love giants. I think they're fantastic. And Sean Ritchie. Louis de Bois de Frontenac. Frontenac. Louis de Bois de Frontenac. Le garrison de l'Effort Frontenac. So we've got a Duke with Virtue of Heroism, Royal Pegasus, Lance, Gromwell Great Helm. That's a pretty standard one. Then we've got Green Knight. Then we've got Elise Ducat. Oh, legend. Well done, Sean. Well done, Sean. This is the right set of options. This is what I would take if I was doing Bretonnia. This is lovely. Well done. Yeah. I mean, the free BSB is nice, but I think this is better. Because, you don't really need it. But your BSB just ends up dying and throwing away victory points anyway, so arguably what's the point? Is this is just a standard, so he's got Knights of the Realm, Bowman, pardon me. And again, this is 1750, so he can't quite afford another unit of Pegasus Knights, but I'm pretty certain if this was going to be 2,000 points, that you just get another unit of these. Cool. So well done, Shane, for winning that. Where was that again? Canada. Another Canadian tournament. And then this War in the Old World, the sequel. So this took place a couple of weekends ago. I don't know what's happened to... There was another one I wanted to cover, so I'll talk about that when I get to Nova. Anyway, Colin McCrudden came third with Dark Elves, so that's something interesting to look at. AJ Rogers came second with Wood Elves, so congrats to David Wade. That's why I went Dave. I concatenated your names. Dade, and Dade managed to win with High Elves. So Colin, who came Column. Sorry, apologies. Column was this in Ireland? It was Northern Ireland. So Column came third with Dragon Lord, Pendant of Caleth, Shield of Gron. Pendant of Caleth is that really cool artifact that's a 4 at ward against strength 5 or more and a 5 at ward against lower strength stuff. Now, because he's toughness 6 because of the Black Dragon, that means that essentially anything that needs 6s to wound him, he's got a 5 at ward against, and anything that needs 5s or better, he gets a 4 at ward against that. So it's really, really effective on a dragon. And the Shield of Grond is like -1 to wound in combat, so it's even worse. So that's a super strong Dragon Lord. You're really going to struggle to kill it. He's then got a Beastmaster. Don't really know why. So Goad Beast, it allows him to give or maybe even D3 extra attacks, so he can... The Black Dragon is probably the best dragon in the game. It's the same as like the High Elf Star Dragon or whatever the best High Elf Dragon is. But you can goad it and give it, I think, D3 extra attacks from the Beastmaster, so it makes it even better. I think you can goad something if the monster that you're goading is in combat, but I think you have to be outside of combat. Then he's got a level 2 wizard, which just goes to show you don't need magic. You don't need that much magic. What builder is used? Then we've got Black Orc Corsairs, Black Arc Corsairs. I don't like this list builder. It's quite difficult to see what's going on. And then we've got some crossbowmen and some warriors. Warriors are a bit rubbish, but, you know, core tax in it. And then we've got some special stuff. So we've got some Cold War Knights. People are a bit down on them because they're stupid, but they are leadership 9. So you're unlikely to fail that super frequently. He's got some shades, which aren't great. He's got some executioners. A big block of executioners. Actually, this is where a lot of the points is, isn't it? 318 points. Yeah, the big points blocks are basically him and the Dreadlord. So, yeah, executioners are okay. They're not as good as Swordmasters, annoyingly, but they are pretty decent because they've got cleaving blow. So, you know, they do tend to go through stuff. And they've got this useless murderous keyword that literally, like, I'm sure they've got the murderous keyword wrong. So murderous allows you to reroll 1s on your wound rolls for a single hand weapon. So the reason I think they've cocked up is if you look at the assassin, right, the assassin is only armed with 2 hand weapons. So it's not hand weapon and additional hand weapon. It's only armed with 2 hand weapons. So it can never use the murderous keyword because it can't switch down to 1 hand weapon. Because so 2 hand weapons is a weapon profile. It means 2 hand weapons. You can't just drop 1 like logic might dictate you should be able to. Rules as written, you can't just attack with 1 and get your reroll 1 to wound. So literally that murderous thing, just it's murderously bad. Badly written anyway. And then AJ Rogers came in second with Wood Elves. He's gone for a Glade Captain on a Great Stag and a Spellweaver and a Treeman Ancient. So this is, yeah, very similar to the other list, isn't it? Very, very similar to the other list. Very, 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 very similar to the other list, except we've got some War Dancers and a few less Dryads, basically. And he's gone for a Treeman instead of a Great Eagle. Treemen are pretty decent in combat. Treeman Ancients aren't that good in combat. So it's like, you know, you've got Ents and Ent Wives almost. So they're not so good in combat, but good at magic. And then the Treemen are better in combat, but not, you know, they don't have any magic, obviously. And then David Wade managed to win with an Archmage level 4 High Elves. Archmage level 4 on foot. Does he have some... He doesn't. That's interesting. He's got a Dragon Prince, obviously. Yep. And he's got some Illyrian Reavers, which I still think are absolutely awful. Like, why have they only got short bows? They're bloody elves. He's got some Elven Spearmen to take a hit, presumably. He's got is that 24 Phoenix? It is 24 Phoenix God. Wow. Phoenix God are pretty decent. Yeah. And then he's got a line. I love the line chariot model. I just wish it was slight. It is a very good chariot, but I just wish it was slightly better. Cool. Actually, no, I don't. I wish Lion Warriors were better because I'd love to take a Kracian army, but under the current rules, it's not very good. So Alpine Old World. This is the first tournament in Austria, and the Austrians have gone big. They've gone for a 5-game as the first tournament. So Zoltan Victor Lani from Team Pocket Cat came third. Aaron Leitgeb from 1 and 2.5 Men with High Elves, and then Clemens Korashets from Top G's came first. So congrats Schalten, Aaron and Clemens. So Schalten has a High Priest. So this is Khemri, High Priest level 4. This is the first time we've seen Khemri podiuming so far. So this is interesting. Like, the meta is definitely shifting away from Khemri. Maybe because the Khemri players are wanting to play with something else. But Khemri is a really fun faction to play. I can 100% endorse them. They're very forgiving. So we've got level 4. So he's gone Mortuary Cult. So we've got level 4. Another High Priest on foot with the Amulet of the Serpent, which gives the unit it's in poison attacks. He's presumably got a big unit of archers somewhere. No, maybe it goes in these skeleton warriors here. And then he's got a mortuary priest. He's not a graded one to be a standard battle standard bearer. That's interesting. Because normally you take a mortuary priest and upgrade it to a battle standard bearer, but yeah, he's not done that. The reason you do that is because it allows you to reroll leadership checks and all your arise type spells, which is basically resurrect stuff. They're not spells, they're leadership check abilities, command abilities. He's got 4 bow shabti. He's got some tomb swarms and stuff. Couple of tomb scorpions, which are great. It's just in my tournament I totally misused them the whole way through. And then he's gone for the sensible thing of 2 casket of souls and a screaming skull catapult. This allows you to give like another leadership debuff combined with the necromancy leadership debuffs. Means that you can be pretty nasty. Because the Casket of Souls has a magic missile that's okay unless you fail your leadership check, and then when you fail your leadership check against it, it does mega damage. So that's what he's leaning into, I think, there. But caskets are great. If I take my Khemri to another tournament, I need 2 caskets instead of 2 bloody useless screaming skull catapults. But then again, I am good at rolling misfires, so it's probably that. Anyway, Aaron has a Dragon Mage. As an actual Dragon Mage. They're awful. Why have you got that? Because it's a fairly rubbish wizard on a fairly rubbish dragon. Because it's like toughness 5 and it's got like almost no armor. I think it's got a 5 up save. Oh no, it's got a 4 up save. Sorry, it counts as full plate. It says there. But like, oh yeah, not very good at all. And then he's got Prince on a Dragon. Yeah. And then he's got a load of Illyrian Reavers. He's got some archers. Lots of archers. Well, I say lots of archers. Lots of units. He's got lots of speed bumps in core. He's then got some Dragon Princes. A couple of Bolt Throwers. A Great Eagle. A Lion Chat. He's got a bit of everything, really, hasn't he? So, this list is very flexible and it's going to be reasonably good against everything it goes into because it's got a bit of everything and it can do all the jobs. So, yeah, I'm maybe that's the way to go with High Elves. You need to take a balanced force with a little bit of everything and a couple of dragons. Maybe the Dragon Mage isn't terrible. Maybe I've misunderestimated it, but I don't think I have. I think he would have been better. But actually, yeah, I don't know. It looks okay. Maybe saving the points is worth it. Who knows? Clemens came first with... Oh, no, my German's terrible. With... Oh, this is Bretonnian, isn't it? Herzog. Königs, so Royal Pegasus, Gromwell Great Helm, Tugend des Ritterlichen Zorns. Is that the Falkenhorn of Frederland, maybe? Shield. I wonder what a shield is. A Handwaffe. Handwaffe. I love the fact that they call mobile phones handies. It's so good. Mine handy. Anyway, so that's a Duke. This is a Baron, obviously. Baron's the same word. Paladin is the same word. And then a Maid, which is a handmaiden. Yeah, what else has he gone? He's gone for 9 Knights of the Realm. He's gone for 10 archers. 6 so these are cavalry riders. Fahrende Ritter. I think that means errantry, like apprentice knights. Yeah, and then he's gone for another 6 Knights of the Realm, and then 9 Grail Knights. That's really interesting. Yeah, and he's gone for a magic banner. King's War, something. But yeah, I'm not going to try and... Anyway, so he's gone for 9 Grail Knights. That's the big thing. He's not gone for, and this is the interesting point, he's not gone for... And he's won. Remember, he's won a 5-game tournament, won every single game. He's not gone for any Pegasus Knights, which is really, really super interesting. He's gone for a massive block of Grail Knights instead. So that's a really... I'd love... I wish I could see some of these games. Do you know what I mean? I wish there was like more coverage, because like I'd love to know how that actually works on the table and what his tactics are and how he plays it. But it's a really interesting list. I think the massive block of Grail Knights, that's a lot of points. But I guess if you put the Handmaid in, you can like give them a 5-up ward, or at least a 6-up, regen. Or make them like strength 7 on the charge, AP 3, armor bane 1 with the other like remains in play Bretonnian spell. So yeah, really, really super. You can, buffing them up, you can make them amazing. Anyway, then we had the massive Warhammer tournament, which I think is the biggest tournament in terms of points deployed so far. I think this one was just slightly bigger than Nova. But anyway, it's a 5-game tournament. Adrian, the Dogfinder General McWalter, came in 3rd with Warriors of Chaos. Scott Reed, familiar name, came in 2nd from Forgotten North Gaming with Kemry. And then Russ Veal won with Warriors of Chaos. Now, Russ Veal is... I am very jealous of Russ Veal. He's an exceptionally good painter and a very good player as well. He's a bit of a triple threat, and he's actually not an arsehole as well. Like, he's all right to talk to. So, like, he's I'm very jealous of him. But anyway, he managed to win. Of course he did. And I bet his army looked gorgeous as well. Anyway, Adrian. So we've got 2 Warriors of Chaos. Now, the Warhammer World Tournament, they didn't allow any of the legacy factions. So these are all Kemry, Warriors of Chaos, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to see any vampire counts here or anything like that. So this is a different meta to every other tournament, really. So I was 50-50 as to whether I was going to include it because of that. But whatever. So Adrian came 3rd. He's got a normal Dragon General Lord thing. He's gone for output rather than defense. Fine. He's got a Sorcerer Lord on a steed, which is fine. It's probably going to go in a unit somewhere down the line. Is it? No, it's just going to go around on its own and get shot to death. Okay. Or not, actually. He's gone for Forsaken by Khorne. They get hatred, so they get to reroll hits. Again, I prefer Slanesh, but Khorne is like a very close second. And on some days, I think it's better. Not Sundays, but some days. He's got some Marauder Horse with some throwing axes to roadblock, maybe, and a small unit of Chaos Marauders. With shields and light armour, I mean, you'd give them flails, really, wouldn't you? Because, at least flails, they could do a bit of damage. I'm not sure what they're really there to do, other than maybe get in the way. 3 single Dragon Ogres, that's smart. Yeah, do that. Chaos Chariot. Yeah, Chaos Chariot's pretty good. For their points, and then he's got 5 Chosen Knights who are Nurgle. Shields of full plate. I mean, I've not played with my Chaos Warriors. I think I've played 1 tournament with them, to be honest, and I played terribly all weekend. So I only won 3 games, and that was me playing badly all weekend. So. I think, to be honest, Chaos is another of those factions I think that's going to be like Kemry, and that is very forgiving, and it doesn't really matter what you take, as long as you lean into something. So like we saw with Rob's list previously, if you take a lot of Wizards, and you take a lot of Chaos Warriors to give them extra casting, but you're taking your Warriors to kind of give those Wizards as much bonus to cast for as long as possible. So you're really building like a gun line of Chaos Warriors. And that can be super effective, especially if you then like camp that out on a flank. So your opponent might then has to move to get to you. So you can take on bits of your opponent's army like one bit at a time. And if you can do that, if you can reduce your opponent to sending you wave after wave of stuff that you then just kill before it gets to you, that can be super effective. You can create a list like this, which is very balanced and that can do a bit of everything, you know. So you got some heavy, you got some longish charges here for the Knights of Chaos. You've got a very long charge by something that's actually going to do quite a lot of work because of the Ogre Blade, but also is very defensive in the Chaos Lord. And then you've got bits that, you know, Forsaken, these are going to slap real hard in combat. So your opponent isn't really going to want to get into combat with them, but he's going to have to at some point. And then you've got these like 5 units here to kind of get in the way, but also to go around and hunt war machines. Because 3 Shartaks against 1 cannon, or like even 3 Shartaks against 3 cannons, the 3 Shartaks are going to win every day, because you know, unless the player with the 3 cannons gets really lucky and manages to actually shoot them all, they're just not going to, you know, one of them's going to get there and then it's going to be in combat for the rest of the game. You can't shoot it then. So then 1 Shartak can quite easily take out 3 cannons. So it's a bit of a numbers game. If you take a unit of like 3 Dragon Ogres, actually you can kill all 3, whereas 3 separate, it's really difficult. You've got to manage your fire output. So this is really smart, well done, Adrian. Scott Reed has got Tomb Kings of Khemri. He's gone for a general on a Necrolith with the Armour of Ages, which basically reduces its armor save to 6 up, but then you have to re-roll wounds against it. And that's not just in combat, they're shooting as well, so it's horrible. He's got level 4 wizard on a skeletal steed. He's got some stalkers with ambushes. He's got some horse archers. Oh, 2 swarms. Huh. I didn't realise they were core. Oh, no, I'm thinking of the other ones, aren't I? The sepulchral stalkers are the ones with the shooty stuff. I think they're rubbish. But obviously he doesn't. I suppose ambushes makes them decent, but there's better things. He's got 4 bow shabti, he's got 3 tomb scorpions, and 2 necrosphinx. Necrosphinx are horrid. 200 points, they're an absolute steal for 200 points. They need to go up in points. And then Rustville, the chap who won it, he's got a Chaos Lord, Mark of Nurgle, he's got the Crown of Oak. So he's gone for survivability. So this has got a 3-up armor save, I think. Yeah, 3-up armor save, 5-up ward, 5-up regen, 2 favour of the gods, and 2 magic resistance. So it's quite difficult to do stuff against it magically. I think that's really useful because of spells like the You Can't Charge Me spell, which is like a casting value of 11. So you know, if you've got this as well, it basically turns it into a 13. So that actually becomes quite difficult to cast. He's then got a level 4 Sorcerer Lord with the Infernal Puppet. That again is defensive. That makes your opponent, I think, when they're within 18 or 24 inches, they've got to roll an extra. Is that the one? Am I thinking of the right magic item? If I am thinking of the right magic item, that's the one that makes them roll 3 dice and discard the highest when casting a spell. I'm going to have to wrap this video up soon because my voice is failing. So I've got some Marauder Horse with flails. Flails makes them so good. Like strength 5, AP 2 on the charge is really. I mean, for that little points, and they're light cavalry, and they've got swift stride and stuff. Marauder Horsemen are excellent. They're brilliant. And then he's got some Chaos Knights with the Mark of Tzeentch. So these essentially that becomes unit strength 10. This is on a demonic mount. These and these together means essentially this becomes a level 5 wizard. So that's really, really good, really super effective. He's got some Warhounds with Vanguard because reasons, I don't know, because spare points probably. Another little unit, I mean, it doesn't hurt, and they can go off and kill a cannon. So you could put them on a flank and just hope your opponent just forgets about them. They can do stuff like march blocking. So what you can do is you can put like your knights so they're within like a maximum charge distance away, and then advance your Warhounds up to like here, and then angle them like off the table. Not off the table, angle them so your opponent can get an easy charge into the Warhounds. And especially if they've got a frenzied unit, because then the frenzied unit has to come out and then it can only come back on and then it's going to get slapped. Or you can you know, so you can give them an option so that they can take out the Warhounds, but then your knights are going to punch them in the face. So they're really good for that kind of like for giving you a little bit of an advantage and a little bit of a battlefield. So a small unit of Warhounds is a great choice. He's then gone for a single unit of 3 Dragon Ogres rather than 3 separate that you see separately. That's quite interesting. I prefer 3 separately, but anyway. And he's gone for 3 Chaos Chariots. Chaos Chariots are really good. And actually seeing 3 of them in a list like this is making me rethink them a little bit. Because I think maybe the Chaos Chariot is the answer. Because I keep trying to take Chosen, and I've played with the Chosen in lots of battles, and they just don't seem to do anything. Whereas at least the Chaos Chariots have a lot of impact hits. They're reasonably tough. They've got a lot of wounds. They've got a 3-up armor save. Yeah, maybe 3 of them is better. And actually, they're not terrible in combat. Maybe I want the new Chosen Chariots. I don't know. But anyway, well done, Russ. You glorious git. And then we've got Nova. So, Nova is a 2,500 point tournament that took place a few weeks ago, somewhere in America. They also had, on the Friday, so this was the Saturday and the Sunday, they also had a mini tournament on the Friday, so that was like 3 games on the Friday. So some of these players have, this is like their last game would have been game number 8, and I think Abe was one of them, but I'm not entirely certain. So Abe came 3rd, Tim came 2nd, and Luna, of course, managed to win. So, Abe, with his Bretonnian list, he's got a Baron, he's gone for Exiles, so he's got a pretty standard Baron for Exiles. He's then got another Baron for another, like, combat hero. He's got a Damsel and an Outcast Wizard. The Outcast Wizard has the Rebirthing of Ruin and a Warhorse. And then he's gone for a Paladin, which has the BSB and the Rampaging Banner, and there's the Falkenhorn of Fredemund. Again, I mean, I can't take Grail Knights, can he? Because he's Exiles. He's got a couple of units of Brigands, which are quite interesting. These ones are ambushes, these ones are scouts. Essentially, they're kind of like light infantry. They can have blunderbusses, which are horrible. So it's interesting that he's lent into that. He's got his maximum unit of. He's not. Well, I suppose he's not got the maximum. He could take another unit of 5, but he's gone for the reasonable maximum number of Pegasus Knights he can. And then we've got some Knights of the Realm and Bowmen to finish it off. The Exile's Vow is excellent because it basically gives them Veteran, which is like one of the best special abilities in the game. Like, you know, it's just fantastic. Like re-rolling all your leadership checks, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's a really good list. Well done, Abe. Tim Skovsky. Tim Skovsky. Has gone for Cults No Archers GT. Okay, mortuary cults with no archers then, I guess. So he's got a High Priest, he's got a Mortuary Priest, and another one that's the BSB. And he's gone for 30 warriors. Oh, there are archers. Cults No Archers GT. Okay, whatever. So he's got some archers, he's got some skirmishers, he's got 6 bow shabti. Again, smart. Bow shabti are great. I just massively misused mine. But again, I like the tournament I went to, I took 6 bow shabti. I managed to win all 3 games, and I massively misused about 300 points of my army. So, Khemri are very forgiving. He's gone for maximum Tomb Scorpions, 2 Necrosphinx, 2 Screaming Skulls, 2 Caskets. He saved a lot of points on characters that he spent over this end of the list. So, I'd hate to come up against this. And all the magic and, like wading through treacle. Like really spiky, horrible, nasty treacle that keeps spitting fire at you. Doesn't sound like fun at all. And then Luna, I love all the narrative on all of her stuff. Duke Roussard, Wandering Rose, notorious womanizer, poet and story general. Roussard leads a winged crusade to reclaim the fertile valleys of the Vault. I don't know where the Vault is, but anyway. He's got Virtue of Knightly Temper on the Duke. Then Baron Garlent, pure of heart, the perfect knight, Gallant remains chaste in his pursuit of martial perfection, training only with the strongest, sweatiest men. Should come down to my rugby club then, because there's plenty of us there. So that's a Baron, which is upgraded to have the Grail Vow, and so it gets magic attacks basically, and Virtue of the Ideal. What's Virtue of the Ideal do? Is that a reroll hits or something? And Paladin Gusel, a brute clad in black armour, Gusel often dives deep into the enemy lines to secure glory greater than that of his brother Rassad. Rassad Gusel. Anyway, and then we've got Turin's Turnips, Carcassonne's Finest, which are bowmen, Morgana's Crows. Anyway, so we've got some bowmen over here, quite a lot of bowmen actually, but in smaller units. So that's quite clever because it allows you to make little blocks, and also like with the stakes, you can put like quite a lot of stakage around the battlefield, so they allow you to essentially affect the terrain, which I think people massively misuse. What's he got down the bottom? He's got she's got when I said he, I was referring to the general. So she's got Sir Teudric. Holiest not Bane, 10 honoured Paul, 10 honoured. Oh, they the Grail reliquary, so they're Grail pilgrims. That's interesting. I guess like with all the I guess like 10 unbreakable models. There's a decent amount of wounds to chew through if you're not going to make them break. So that could I see why that's useful. Remember that as well, this is a 2,500 point tournament, so there's going to be more here than a 2k list, fairly obviously. And then we've got, then she's got some Pegasus Knights here. So we've got 5 Bards of the Sunflower and 6 Poets of the Orchid Moon. And we've got some Knights of the Realm. So a lot of Pegasus Knights. Again, they're probably the best unit in the game. There's very few that can actually compete with them for that title, to be honest. I mean, if you want something similar in terms of speed, you're looking at Vargeist, but they don't have Swift Stride, which is really weird. They're like the only flying unit in the game that don't have Swift Stride. So it's almost like they fly to a thing and then run into combat, which is a bit weird. And then she's got some Squires as well, which is red to serve warning, red to hide their wounds, red to begin the slaughter. Brilliant. Then a big unit of Rassad must constantly replaces peasants from local forts as he uses them to fodder to join his enemies. So, Volts war guard. So you're doomed to die. And men at arms are pretty rubbish, but they do serve as a bit of a roadblock, and they do allow you to essentially take a punch and then counter punch the unit that took them out. So yeah, they allow you to kind of get some presence in the middle of the battlefield, which your opponent then has to hit, which you can then smash through. So and to take out 29 men at arms, you're gonna have to hit it with something decent. So this is why this like big block of men at arms is actually quite good, because if you then stick that in the middle of the battlefield, your opponent's got to commit something significant, right? At least 200 or 300 points of a decent sized unit of cavalry, or a decent sized infantry block to clear them away, and then you've got all of this stuff that you can smash into it, and then you'll destroy whatever. So in terms of like your trade off, this is like if it were chess, this is like a pawn that's actually quite hard to take. So you've got to put, it's pretty rubbish, but you've got to put significant effort into it to clear it off. And then once you've cleared it off, you've then got like, a couple of bishops and a couple of rooks that are going to come and hit you hard back. So, and again, this is what this unit does as well. So what Luna's done is she's got this unit and this unit as like something pretty hard. She's got loads of stakes on the battlefield to kind of make it quite difficult for cavalry to maneuver around. And then she's got a big block of counterpunch stuff and some characters that lean into the whole counterpunch mechanic as well. So this is a super, super strong list, and I'm not surprised it's won. But Luna, as you've seen, she's played like 7, and actually there are another couple of tournaments that I can't include because the publishers haven't put the results in, and she's won those as well. So she's played like nearly 9 tournaments. She's played like loads of games at tournaments, and this is like finally honed Bretonnia list. So if you're a Bretonnia player, this is look at just any of Luna's lists, especially the more recent ones, because it's so good and so smart. Anyway, I've gone on for I've covered quite a lot of tournaments and gone on for an hour and a half, which isn't too bad actually. So yeah, if you've liked the video, there's a button for that. I am going to be hopefully. Well, I might be playing rugby on Saturday. If so, Sunday will be a bit of a write-off. If not, in fact, Saturday morning I might distract myself because I get stressed before rugby. I get really excited. So I might spend Saturday morning recording stuff about Warriors of Chaos. So, I've got to update my tier videos, and I've got to go through the Arcane Journal, and I was going to go through like a few list building things. So I was going to try and record like 3, 4, 5 videos maybe that I was going to publish over the next week. So, so next week should be back to normal recording schedule, unless I get absolutely battered on Saturday. So yeah. Anyway, if you've liked the video, do that thing with the mouse clicky button thing, and if you've got this far, you probably already are a subscriber. So thank you for clicking on that button at some point in the past. If you're not, then hopefully I've done enough to earn that particular privilege. And if you've got anything to say, or you've got an opinion, or Grimgor, I know you're there. I've probably got 10 things wrong, so I'm sure you can correct me, which I genuinely do appreciate. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that so many people watch my videos in the first place. I never really expected to get any more than like, my mates, around here subscribing, to be honest. So to be nearly on 1,000 subscribers, I find absolutely bizarre. But yeah, anyway, this kind of low tech coverage. Should I get a backdrop? Because I've been seeing like other people, like, we're kind of at the point of the video where we're kind of amongst friends. But like I see a lot of these other, like Close Order, which was 6++, like he seems to have got like loads of subs like really quickly, and I don't know how but he's got his own like branded t-shirt, and he's got like a studio and stuff. And Richie Amphlett seems to have got, is it loads more, despite the fact he's only just started. So yeah, I don't know. Not that I'm that bothered about like people subscribing per se. It's just I find it interesting how like some people build up a following quite quickly and others don't. And I just like to see, because obviously I'm doing something like wrong, as it were, or maybe it's because I'm not interested in monetizing it, so YouTube like doesn't try and promote my videos. Maybe that's it. I'm not really interested in helping them to earn money through me. I don't, because a lot of the people on YouTube want to use YouTube as like a platform to earn money off, and then YouTube take a slice of that. Whereas because I'm not really fussed about that, like they probably, because I'm, if I earn money, I want it to be for something rather than just, I suppose content is something. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm waffling on as usual. But yeah, if you want to pop something down below, I'd be more than happy to engage in a conversation. Yeah, cool. So I hope that's been useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if not. Toodaloo.